number 8 in the video challenge, and today is kind of a puzzle for me. I've been putting it off, but I finally got to start mixing in what this channel is for and what the vision I have for it is. And I've been putting it off because maybe my vision of it is not clear enough to where I can say it, or I can explain it well enough. So this might be a very rough overview, and then in future videos I'll drill a little bit deeper in each of the subjects. There's old Honey Bun with a real dirty blanket on behind me. And this is old Frosty. He was in the last video, and I took my good big time head horse to the vet today. He has a problem on his pull, or a little tear in his subcarpal check ligament, which is what I suspected, and unfortunately he gets a couple of months off. So Mr. Frosty, he's nominated. He's going to be the next big thing. He might have to take a little more pressure than I was hoping when we get to Arizona, but anyway, I'm distracting myself from talking about what I want to say, which is so these are short 5-10 minute videos, but I'm going to start doing some longer interview style videos, like a actual video podcast. And easy, Frosty. And so, and what that's going to be called in podcast form, what I've had in mind for a while now, would be called the Cowboy Money Show, hence the name of the channel, Cowboy Money Show. And it's for the show about creating value and building wealth for cowboys and outlaws. So I should have wrote them down a little before I started recording this. But anyway, my ideas for that, like I say, I'll do a real quick overview today, and then over the next few days or weeks I'll dig into each part of that, or break that title and easy, buddy. Break that down and talk more about what I actually mean by that. And so, but basically it's a puzzle for me, because I've had this in mind. I've had some idea of something like this for several years even, and I've never pulled the trigger and started it, or I've had some false starts. I've had some false starts because I can never enunciate clearly what my objective is, and part of that's ego, because I want everything to be perfect. That's a bad problem I have, or I fight with, and I've gotten a lot better about in the last few months, even beating my perfectionism. So as part of that effort to beat perfectionism, I'm just going all in right here, and more or less going to declare what I believe and what this is about, and as they say, rock the fucking boat. So I don't know if any of y'all have the experience of having different interests. This, to take something for examples, imagine you were a high-level black belt jiu-jitsu practitioner. I'm not sure how you say that. That's not me, and by any stretch. And so that was one huge focus in your life, and you loved everything about it, and you had a lot of friends in that field, that realm. And say you also played the trumpet, and you played at a high level, and you played in a symphony orchestra somewhere, and you had a lot of friends in that. A lot of friends, and you knew a lot of good people in that field. And it's a funny thing, if you can relate to a situation like that, it's a funny thing, because it's a funny spot to be in, because you want to bring them together somehow, and you know that there are elements of jiu-jitsu and elements of music that, you know, especially in the learning and the discipline of both of them, that would complement each other, and you want to share those things with the world around you. But it's so hard to make the worlds collide, so to speak, and you think, well, if I try to bring, this is maybe my problem with ego, going back again and thinking about what other people will think, or so that's just an analogy for basically what a couple of things that I care about. One of them being horses, the smell of horses, and cowboys, and that's a hard thing to define, and I'll go more into that, but I'll loosely define myself in that category. Cowboys, horses, what's been called the Western industry, even though I don't know that I like that term, and it's put that aside for the moment. I've been pretty immersed for a long time in horses. Since I started shooting horses 18 years ago, and not as a cowboy, but wanting to be, and slowly working my way to get a better understanding and feel for horses, and learning how to rope. And I tried to ride broncs for a while, which didn't work that well. I've got on a few bulls, so just put that all in the bucket of the cowboy realm, or yes, cowboy realm. And then another thing that this is harder to describe, but one of my big interests that I love and think is important is Austrian economics, sound money, the sound monetary theory, and political philosophy in some regards, but mostly practically what money is and how it affects the study of, and how it affects everyday people, and how it's used to control and shape society, and how to invest and profit around that. You know, so specifically the hard money camp, or the sound money camp, would be people that a lot of times will invest in gold and silver bullion and gold mines, silver mines. So there's a whole world around that, and it's hard for me to define at this moment. But there are dozens of people, and quite a few people that I really respect and learn from, and read and watch their videos on YouTube, and listen to their podcasts. And I pay for a subscription to a precious metals market analysis site or service. So I'd be hard pressed to quantify, you know, which is higher in my I don't think it's a competition, you know, the cowboy stuff, or the horse business, just broadly horse business, race horses, shoeing, roping, that put up next to my interest and love and appreciation of Austrian economics, and what it means to be an American and a patriot, and how to fight the tyranny you can see encroaching, the tyranny that's grown so evident over the last year and a half. I think the whole economics and sound money subject is something that is vital to understand if we're going to beat we're going to remain a free people. We're going to maintain liberty as Americans and live the life that we desire to live in order to the good of, you know, our families and the future of our country. It's going to be vital for people to understand sound money, understand those principles of economics that have been basically thrown out of and excluded from polite society for so long, based on the current educational system and what have you. There's some, not to get off on a tangent, but some of the great minds in that field, you know, of economics and political philosophy, being Murray Rothbard, and I would put Tom Woods in there as someone that can explain business cycle theory, and is a great libertarian type. So I will say he's a libertarian, but he's a great historian, and he has great academic credentials. I mean, Harvard and Columbia, and there's all these guys that I've read. They're all, it's not that they're crackpots and that they're outside of academia, it's just that they are basically ignored, and that view does not get promulgated for reasons you'll understand if you follow along and let me put all this together in some coherent manner. And it might take me weeks or months or years to put this all together and say it in a way that I can be proud of and will inspire people to pay attention. But that's going back to the beginning, the puzzle I have is how to put those together in some way, how to integrate those things about me the things that I love and care about, and how to create information or videos or interview people, and how to spread the message that I want to scream from the rooftops, and do it in a fun way, and not do it in a negative or boy who cried wolf, just detrimental to anyone's health and well-being, someone that's always a negative Nancy. I believe, real quickly, I believe the way that we're going to beat the global, I don't know what you want to call, communist banking syndicate that you can see, especially over the last year and a half, is running and ruining society, and has been for a long time, is that everyone that thinks about this and cares about it, the essential thing is to maintain joyful and knowing what you do, and knowing the value you bring to society, and celebrating that, and having a good time, having fun, and eating steak, playing music. That's the very essence of what we'll get into who they are later, but of what the little ferret-faced bureaucrats that don't want you to shake hands ever again and wear a piece of paper around your nose, that's the very essence of what they want to stamp out and ruin, because that's the good that God made us to do and made us to be, and that part they hate that. They want to get rid of it. So that's a big tangent. But this channel, the Cowboy Money Show, it will be my attempt at bringing those worlds together, and me speaking coherently about them over time, and interviewing people both about the gold and silver markets, and also about the cattle business, what the challenges it faces. I don't, other than eating a lot of beef and buying and selling some roping steers, I'm not a big mover in the cattle business, so I need to learn more about that, anyway, interviewing fun people, and then also to the creating and building wealth, creating wealth and creating value and building wealth part of what I said. I'll go much more in depth on those subjects in the videos ahead, but just talk about how to make a living, because that's something I've struggled with over the last couple years, and especially since I'm semi-retired from shooting horses with a bum hand. What do you do? What do you do in today's environment with the economic situation as it is, and how do you know that you're creating value for your fellow man? Anyway, I'll leave it at there. But if you watch this far, I really appreciate it, and I hope that I've spoken clearly enough to where you get some gist of where I'm going. And if I didn't, then I'm going to drill down deeper into smaller parts of these subjects. But for now, I just say that I believe sound money and real assets, beef, the good patriotic Americans that don't kowtow to the powers that be, and we maintain our sense of joy in being alive and having fun and doing what we do. I believe we're going to beat this global cabal that you can see around you, and I'm excited, and I hope that in some way that I will reach enough people that make my little dent in the world and inspire you to think similar ways, and at least think about it. So once again, before I go off on another, let me just end it right there. So thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow in the next video. So please subscribe and pass this around if you get any value, or if you think someone might get something out of it. Adios.